Welcome to Podcasts for Learning English with Listening. This is a podcast that helps you learn English. You will hear simple English stories. The stories are easy to understand. They are for beginners. You can listen to these stories and practice your English. You will hear new words. You can learn how to use these words. Listen carefully and follow along. Let's start with a story. There was a boy named Tom. Tom was 10 years old. He lived in a small town. The town was near a big city. Tom liked to play outside. He had many friends. They played together after school. They played games like hide and seek. They also played football. Tom liked football the most. One day, Tom and his friends went to the park. They wanted to play football. The weather was good. The sun was shining. It was a perfect day to play. They played for a long time. After the game, Tom was tired. He sat under a big tree. His friends sat with him. They talked about their day. Tom said, "I had fun today." His friend, Sam, said, "Me too. I like playing football with you." Tom smiled. He was happy. They all laughed and talked. Soon, it was time to go home. Tom waved goodbye to his friends. He walked home with a smile on his face. At home, Tom's mother was waiting for him. She had made dinner. Tom was hungry. He sat at the table and ate his food. His mother asked, "Did you have a good day?" Tom said, "Yes, I played football with my friends." His mother smiled and said, "That sounds fun." After dinner, Tom did his homework. He liked school. His favorite subject was math. He was good at math. After finishing his homework, Tom went to bed. He was tired but happy. He thought about his day and fell asleep. The next morning, Tom woke up early. He got ready for school. He ate breakfast and left the house. At school, Tom saw his friends. They talked about the game they played the day before. Tom's teacher came into the room and said, "Good morning, class." The class replied, "Good morning, teacher." The teacher started the lesson. Today, they were learning about animals. Tom liked animals. He had a dog at home. His dog's name was Max. Max was a small dog, but very smart. Tom loved Max. After school, Tom went home and played with Max. They ran around in the garden. Max was fast. He could run very quickly. Tom laughed and said, "You are the best dog, Max." The next day, it rained. Tom was sad because he could not play outside. He stayed inside and read a book. The book was about a boy who went on an adventure. Tom liked the story. It made him forget about the rain. He read for hours. When he finished the book, he felt good. Reading was fun, even when he could not play outside. Tom also liked to listen to music. Sometimes, he listened to music while reading. It helped him relax. His favorite kind of music was pop music. It made him feel happy. He danced to the music sometimes. Max watched him and barked. Tom laughed. Max liked the music too. One day, Tom's father came home with a surprise. He had a new football. Tom was very excited. He thanked his father and said, "I can't wait to play with it." The next day, Tom took the ball to the park. He showed it to his friends. They were all excited. They played with the new ball. It was a great day. Tom's team won the game. Everyone cheered. Tom loved playing football, but he knew school was important too. He worked hard in class. His teacher was proud of him. She told him, "You are doing very well in school, Tom. Keep up the good work." Tom smiled and said, "Thank you, teacher." Tom's life was simple but happy. He had good friends, a loving family, and a smart dog. He loved playing football and reading books. Every day was a new adventure for him. He learned something new every day, both in school and outside. Learning is fun. Just like Tom, you can learn new things every day. You can learn English by listening to stories. You can also learn by reading books. Every day, you get better and better. Don't worry if it is hard at first. Keep trying, and you will improve. Just like Tom improved in football and school, you can improve in English. Now, let's learn some new words from Tom's story. Word 1. Play to play means to have fun, to do something you enjoy. Tom likes to play football with his friends. What do you like to play? Word 2. Friend. A friend is someone you like and who likes you. Tom has many friends. Do you have friends? Word 3. Happy. When you feel good and smile, you are happy. Tom feels happy when he plays with his friends. What makes you happy? Word 4. Dog. A dog is an animal. Many people have dogs as pets. Tom's dog is named Max. Do you have a pet? Word 5. Football. Football is a game where you kick a ball and try to score goals. Tom loves playing football. Do you play football? Now that you know these words, try to use them. You can say, "I play with my friends," or "My dog makes me happy." Practice using these words every day. It will help you learn English faster. Let's listen to another short story. There was a girl named Sara. Sara was 8 years old. She loved to read books. Every day, she went to the library after school. The library was big and quiet. Sara liked the quiet. She sat at a table and read her favorite books. One day, she found a new book. The book was about a girl who could talk to animals. Sara was excited. She took the book home and read it all night. In the morning, Sara went to school. She told her friends about the book. They were interested. Sara said, "The girl in the book can talk to animals. Isn't that cool?" Her friends agreed. Sara loved sharing stories with her friends. It made her happy. After school, Sara went back to the library. She returned the book and looked for another one. She loved reading. It was her favorite thing to do. When she read, she felt like she was in a different world. The characters in the books felt real to her. Sara's mother was happy that Sara liked to read. She told Sara, Reading is good for you. It helps you learn new things. Sara nodded. She knew her mother was right. Books were like magic. They could take her anywhere. One day, Sara decided to write her own story. She got a notebook and a pencil. She started to write about a girl who went on an adventure. The girl in the story found a hidden treasure. Sara wrote for hours. She felt proud of her story. She showed it to her mother. Her mother read it and said, "This is a great story, Sara. You should write more." Sara smiled. She was happy her mother liked the story. She decided she wanted to be a writer when she grew up. She wanted to write stories that made people happy, just like the stories she read. The next day at school, Sara's teacher asked the class, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Sara raised her hand and said, "I want to be a writer." The teacher smiled and said, "That's wonderful, Sara. Keep reading and writing, and you will be a great writer one day." Sara felt proud. She knew that if she worked hard, she could become a writer. She decided to read more books and write more stories. She was excited about her future. Now, let's learn some new words from Sara's story. Word 1. Read to read means to look at words in a book and understand them. Sara loves to read books. Do you like to read? Word 2. Library. A library is a place with many books. You can go to the library to read or borrow books. Sara goes to the library after school. Do you go to the library? Word 3. Story. A story is something you read or tell. It can be about real things or made up things. Sara likes to read stories about adventures. What kind of stories do you like? Word 4. Write. To write means to put words on paper. Sara likes to write stories. Do you like to write? Word 5. Book. A book is a set of pages with words or pictures. You read books to learn or for fun. Sara finds many books at the library. What is your favorite book? Now that you know these new words, try to use them in your daily life. You can say, "I read a book at the library," or "I want to write a story." Keep practicing, and you will get better at English. It is important to practice every day. Just like Sara practiced reading and writing, you can practice English. The more you practice, the more you will learn. Don't worry if it is hard at first. Learning something new takes time. Be patient with yourself and keep trying. Let's listen to another story. There was a man named Mr. Green. Mr. Green was a farmer. He lived on a farm with his family. They had cows, chickens, and sheep. Every morning, Mr. Green woke up early. He went to the barn to feed the animals. The cows ate grass, the chickens ate corn, and the sheep ate hay. Mr. Green worked hard every day. One day, Mr. Green's son, Jake, asked if he could help. Jake was 12 years old. He wanted to help his father on the farm. Mr. Green smiled and said, "Of course, Jake. You can help me feed the animals." Jake was excited. He loved the animals. He helped his father feed them every morning. He liked to give the chickens their corn. The chickens made funny sounds, and Jake laughed. He also liked to watch the cows eat grass. They were big and strong. Jake's favorite animal was the sheep. They were soft and fluffy. He liked to pet them. One day, a baby sheep was born. It was very small and cute. Jake was happy. He asked his father if he could name the baby sheep. Mr. Green said, "Yes, Jake. You can name the sheep." Jake thought for a moment and said, "I will name her Daisy." Mr. Green smiled and said, "That's a perfect name." Every day, Jake took care of Daisy. He fed her and played with her. Daisy grew bigger and stronger. Jake felt proud. He loved living on the farm and helping his father. One evening, after a long day of work, Mr. Green sat with his family. They ate dinner together. Jake told his family about Daisy. His mother said, "You are doing a great job taking care of her, Jake." Jake smiled. He was happy his family was proud of him. Now, let's learn some new words from Mr. Green and Jake's story. Word 1. Farm. A farm is a place where people grow food and take care of animals. Mr. Green lives on a farm. Have you been to a farm? Word 2. Animal. An animal is a living creature. Cows, chickens, and sheep are animals. Do you have a favorite animal? Word 3. Feed. To feed means to give food. Mr. Green feeds the animals every day. Do you feed your pets? Word 4. Corn. Corn is a kind of food. Chickens like to eat corn. Do you eat corn? Word 5. Sheep. A sheep is an animal with soft wool. Jake likes to pet the sheep. Have you seen a sheep before? Now that you know these words, try to use them in sentences. You can say, "I saw animals at the farm," or "I feed my pet every day." Practice using these words, and you will learn English faster. Thank you for listening. Let's continue with more stories and more new words. There was a girl named Anna. Anna was 7 years old. She lived in a small house with her parents. Anna loved her house. It had a big garden. Every morning, she went to the garden to play. The garden had many flowers. Anna's favorite flowers were the red ones. She liked to smell the flowers and look at the butterflies flying around them. The butterflies were very colorful. Anna smiled when she saw them. One day, Anna found a small bird in the garden. The bird had fallen from a tree. It was hurt and could not fly. Anna was worried. She ran inside and told her mother. Her mother came to the garden and looked at the bird. She said, "We must help the bird." Anna and her mother made a small bed for the bird. They put the bird in a box and gave it some water. Anna's mother said, "We will take care of the bird until it is better." Every day, Anna checked on the bird. She gave it water and food. She talked to the bird and told it stories. After a few days, the bird was stronger. It started to move its wings. Anna was happy. One morning, Anna went to the garden, and the bird flew away. It was better now. Anna watched the bird fly up into the sky. She felt good because she had helped the bird. After the bird flew away, Anna's mother said, "You did a good job, Anna." You helped the bird." Anna smiled and said, "I'm happy the bird is better now." Her mother hugged her and said, "You have a kind heart." Anna. Helping others made Anna feel good. She wanted to help more animals. One day, she saw a cat in the garden. The cat was hungry. Anna gave the cat some milk. The cat drank the milk and purred. Anna liked helping animals. She knew that even small acts of kindness could make a big difference. One day, Anna's father came home with a surprise. He had a small kitten for Anna. Anna was very happy. She had always wanted a pet. She named the kitten Snowball because it was white like snow. Anna took care of Snowball every day. She fed him, played with him, and gave him lots of love. Snowball became her best friend. They played together in the garden, and Snowball followed Anna everywhere. Anna learned that taking care of a pet was a big responsibility, but she didn't mind. She loved Snowball, and she wanted to make sure he was happy and healthy. Every night, Snowball slept next to Anna in her bed. She felt safe and happy with Snowball by her side. Now let's listen to another story. There was a boy named Leo. Leo loved the sea. His family lived near the beach. Every day after school, Leo went to the beach. He liked to watch the waves and listen to the sound of the ocean. Sometimes he found seashells in the sand. He liked to collect them. Leo had many seashells at home. He kept them in a box, and he liked to look at them. One day, Leo saw something in the water. It was a big fish. The fish was swimming near the shore. Leo had never seen such a big fish before. He watched the fish for a long time. The fish moved slowly and looked very peaceful. Leo wanted to know more about the fish. He ran home and told his father. His father said, "That is a dolphin, Leo. Dolphins are very smart and friendly animals." Leo was excited to learn about dolphins. He asked his father many questions. His father told him that dolphins live in the sea and swim very fast. Sometimes they jump out of the water and play. Leo wanted to see a dolphin jump. The next day, he went to the beach again. He watched the water carefully, hoping to see the dolphin. After a while, he saw it. The dolphin jumped out of the water and made a big splash. Leo clapped his hands and laughed. It was a beautiful sight. Leo loved spending time at the beach. He learned many things about the sea and the animals that lived there. He wanted to take care of the ocean and keep it clean. One day, he saw some trash on the beach. He picked it up and threw it in the bin. He knew that keeping the beach clean was important for the animals. He wanted to make sure the dolphins and other sea creatures were safe. Leo's family was proud of him. They saw how much he loved the ocean and how he wanted to protect it. They told him, "You are doing a good thing, Leo. The sea is important, and we must take care of it." Leo nodded and smiled. He felt proud of himself. The next week, Leo went on a boat with his family. They sailed on the sea, and Leo saw more dolphins. They swam next to the boat, and Leo waved at them. He was very happy. The sea was his favorite place, and he wanted to learn more about it. Let's listen to another story. There was an old woman named Mrs. Brown. Mrs. Brown lived in a small village. She was very kind, and everyone in the village liked her. Mrs. Brown loved to bake. Every week, she made bread and cookies for her neighbors. She also made cakes for special days, like birthdays and holidays. People loved Mrs. Brown's baking. Her cookies were the best in the village. One day, a new family moved to the village. They had a little girl named Emma. Emma was shy and didn't know anyone. She stayed in her house most of the time. Mrs. Brown noticed this and wanted to help. She decided to bake some cookies for Emma and her family. She put the cookies in a basket and went to their house. When Emma opened the door, Mrs. Brown smiled and said, "Hello, dear. I brought you some cookies. Welcome to the village." Emma smiled shyly and took the basket. She thanked Mrs. Brown and went inside. The next day, Emma saw Mrs. Brown again. This time, she waved and smiled. Mrs. Brown was happy to see Emma feeling more comfortable. She knew that sometimes small things like a smile or a kind word could help someone feel better. Mrs. Brown and Emma became good friends. Emma often visited Mrs. Brown's house. They baked together and talked about many things. Mrs. Brown taught Emma how to make cookies. Emma loved learning how to bake. She wanted to be like Mrs. Brown when she grew up. One day, Emma's family had a party, and Emma helped Mrs. Brown bake a big cake. Everyone at the party loved the cake. They all thanked Emma and Mrs. Brown for the delicious food. Emma felt proud. She was happy to be part of the village, and she was glad that Mrs. Brown had helped her feel welcome. Mrs. Brown continued to bake for the village, and Emma always helped her. They worked together and shared their cookies and cakes with everyone. The people in the village loved them both, and they were grateful for their kindness. Let's listen to another story. There was a boy named Tim. Tim lived in a big city. He liked to ride his bike in the park. Every weekend, he went to the park with his father. They rode their bikes together. Tim was very good at riding his bike. He could ride fast and turn quickly. His father was proud of him. One weekend, Tim and his father went to a different park. This park was bigger, and it had many trees. Tim liked the new park. He rode his bike faster than before. But then something happened. Tim hit a rock, and he fell off his bike. His knee hurt, and he started to cry. His father ran to him and said, "Are you okay, Tim?" Tim's father helped him stand up. Tim looked at his knee. It was bleeding a little, but it was not too bad. His father said, "It's okay, Tim. You are strong. You can get back on your bike." Tim wiped his tears and nodded. He got back on his bike and rode slowly. After a while, he felt better, and he started to ride faster again. Tim learned that sometimes you fall, but you can always get back up. His father told him, You did a great job, Tim. You didn't give up. Tim smiled. He was proud of himself. Now, every time Tim goes to the park, he remembers that day. He knows that if he falls, he can always try again. It's okay to make mistakes. What's important is to keep trying. Tim enjoys riding his bike more than ever, and he loves spending time with his father in the park. Let's keep listening to more stories. There was a little boy named Ben. Ben loved cars. He had many toy cars at home. His favorite car was red. It was a gift from his grandmother. Ben played with his toy cars every day. He liked to imagine that he was driving them. He made car noises and pretended to race. One day, Ben and his family went to a car show. Ben was very excited. He had never seen so many cars before. There were red cars, blue cars, and even yellow cars. Ben's eyes were wide with excitement. He wanted to sit in all of them. His father took him to a special car. It was a big, shiny car. Ben sat in the driver's seat and pretended to drive. He was very happy. At the car show, Ben met a man who built cars. The man told Ben, "I make cars like these. One day, you can make cars too if you want." Ben looked at the man and said, "I want to build cars when I grow up." The man smiled and said, "That's a great idea, Ben. You can do it if you work hard." Ben felt very excited. He loved cars even more now. When he went home, he told his parents, "I want to build cars when I grow up." His parents smiled and said, "That's a wonderful dream, Ben. We believe you can do it." From that day, Ben started to learn more about cars. He asked many questions. He wanted to know how cars worked. His parents gave him books about cars, and he read them every day. He was curious and wanted to learn more. He knew that if he worked hard, he could build cars one day. Ben was happy because he had a dream. He knew that dreams could come true if you worked hard and never gave up. He loved playing with his toy cars, but now he also loved learning about real cars. Let's continue with more stories and simple English. There was a girl named Lucy. Lucy lived in a small town with her parents. She liked to read books. Every afternoon, after school, Lucy would go to the library. The library was quiet, and Lucy loved to sit and read in her favorite corner. She read stories about animals, adventures, and faraway places. One day, Lucy found a new book on the shelf. The book had a beautiful cover with a picture of a big castle. She was curious and decided to borrow the book. When Lucy got home, she sat on her bed and started to read. The story was about a princess who lived in a castle. The princess was brave and loved to explore. Lucy liked the princess very much. As Lucy read more, she imagined herself in the story. She imagined that she was the princess, exploring the castle and finding secret rooms. Lucy loved how books could take her to new places. She could visit castles, forests, and even different countries, all by reading a book. It was like going on an adventure without leaving her room. One evening, Lucy's mother came to her room and saw her reading. She smiled and said, "You really love books, don't you, Lucy?" Lucy nodded and said, "Yes, I do. Books are like magic. They take me to new worlds." Lucy's mother was happy that Lucy loved to read. She knew that reading was important. It helped Lucy learn new things and use her imagination. Lucy's mother said, "I'm glad you love reading, Lucy. You can learn so much from books." Lucy smiled. She knew her mother was right. Every time she read a book, she learned something new. Whether it was a story about animals, a new place, or even a lesson about life, Lucy knew that books were full of knowledge. She promised herself that she would keep reading and exploring new stories. Let's hear another story. There was a boy named Sam. Sam lived in a big city. He liked to play soccer with his friends. Every weekend, Sam and his friends went to the park to play. Sam was very good at soccer. He could run fast and kick the ball hard. His friends always asked him to play on their team because they knew he was a great player. One day, Sam's school announced that there would be a soccer tournament. Sam was excited. He wanted to join the school's soccer team and play in the tournament. He told his parents about it, and they were happy for him. His father said, "You should practice every day, Sam. That way, you'll be ready for the tournament." Sam listened to his father. Every afternoon, after school, Sam went to the park to practice. He worked on his kicking, running, and passing. His father often came to watch and gave him advice. Sam felt more confident each day. The day of the tournament came. Sam was a little nervous, but he was also excited. His team played well, and Sam scored a goal. His friends cheered, and Sam felt proud. At the end of the tournament, Sam's team won second place. They didn't win first place, but Sam was still happy. He had done his best, and he had fun with his friends. Sam's parents were very proud of him. His mother said, "You worked hard, Sam, and that's what matters. Winning is not the most important thing. What's important is that you tried your best." Sam smiled. He knew his mother was right. He loved playing soccer, and he was proud of how hard he had worked. Sam continued to play soccer with his friends every weekend. He didn't always win, but he always had fun. And every time he played, he remembered his mother's words. "Trying your best is the most important thing." Now, let's hear another story. There was a little girl named Mia. Mia loved animals. She had a dog named Max. Max was brown and had big floppy ears. Mia loved Max very much. Every morning, Mia and Max went for a walk in the park. Max liked to run and play. He was a very happy dog, and Mia loved spending time with him. One day, Mia's parents told her that they were going to visit a farm. Mia was excited. She had never been to a farm before. When they arrived at the farm, Mia saw many animals. There were cows, chickens, horses, and even pigs. Mia was amazed. She had only seen these animals in books before, but now she could see them in real life. The farmer, Mr. James, showed Mia how to feed the animals. Mia fed the chickens some corn, and they clucked happily. She also gave hay to the horses, and they ate it with big bites. Mia loved being around the animals. She thought they were all very interesting. Then Mia saw something small and fluffy. It was a baby lamb. The lamb was very cute, and Mia asked Mr. James if she could pet it. Mr. James said, "Yes, you can pet the lamb. Be gentle, though." Mia carefully petted the lamb, and it made a soft sound. Mia smiled. She loved the little lamb. After a fun day at the farm, Mia and her parents went home. Mia couldn't stop talking about the animal she had seen. She told her parents, "I want to visit the farm again. I love the animals." Her parents smiled and said, "We can go back to the farm soon, Mia." From that day on, Mia always talked about the farm and the animals. She loved Max, her dog, but now she also loved farm animals. She hoped she could visit the farm again and maybe even help take care of the animals next time. Let's hear another story. There was a boy named Alex. Alex lived with his grandparents in a small house. He loved spending time with them. His grandmother liked to tell stories, and his grandfather liked to teach him how to do things. One summer, Alex's grandfather decided to teach him how to grow vegetables in the garden. Alex was excited. He had never grown anything before. His grandfather said, "It takes time and patience to grow vegetables, Alex, but if you work hard, you will see them grow." They started by planting seeds. Alex planted tomatoes, carrots, and beans. Every day, he watered the seeds and made sure the soil was good. His grandfather told him, "You must take care of the plants. They need water and sunlight to grow." As the days passed, Alex watched the seeds slowly grow into small plants. He was amazed. He couldn't believe that tiny seeds could turn into plants. He felt proud because he had helped them grow. His grandfather smiled and said, "See, Alex, you are doing a great job." After a few weeks, the vegetables were ready to pick. Alex was excited to see the red tomatoes, the long carrots, and the green beans. He picked them with his grandfather and took them inside to show his grandmother. She was very happy and said, "You did a wonderful job, Alex. These vegetables look delicious." That evening, Alex's grandmother cooked the vegetables for dinner. Alex tasted them, and they were very good. He felt proud because he had grown the vegetables himself. His grandparents were proud of him too. They told him, "You worked hard, and now you can enjoy the food you grew." Alex learned that growing vegetables was not easy, but it was worth it. He enjoyed spending time with his grandfather in the garden, and he felt happy when he saw the plants grow. He knew that with patience and hard work, he could grow anything. Are you still listening? Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the bell notification so that you never miss new English podcasts and stories. Thanks. Now, let's jump into another story. There was a girl named Emma. Emma loved to draw. She had a big box of crayons, and she liked to use all the colors. Every day after school, Emma sat at the table and drew pictures. She drew flowers, trees, houses, and animals. Emma's favorite thing to draw was animals. She liked to draw cats, dogs, and birds. One day, Emma's teacher told the class that there would be an art contest. The teacher said, "You can draw anything you like. The best drawing will win a prize." Emma was excited. She wanted to enter the contest, and she wanted to draw something special. Emma thought for a long time about what she should draw. She wanted to make sure her drawing was beautiful and different from all the others. Finally, she decided to draw a picture of the forest with many animals in it. She wanted to draw birds in the trees, rabbits on the ground, and a river with fish swimming in it. Emma worked very hard on her drawing. She used many colors and took her time to make sure everything looked just right. When she finished, she was very proud of her work. She showed her drawing to her parents and they said, "It's beautiful, Emma. You did an amazing job." Emma took her drawing to school the next day and gave it to her teacher. The teacher smiled and said, "This is a wonderful drawing, Emma. I can see how much work you put into it." A few days later, the teacher announced the winner of the contest. Emma's heart was beating fast. She hoped she would win. When the teacher said her name, Emma was so happy. She couldn't believe it. She had won the contest. Emma's friends clapped for her, and the teacher gave her a prize. It was a new box of crayons with even more colors. Emma was very proud of herself. She knew that she had worked hard and that's why she won. From that day, Emma continued to draw every day. She knew that with practice, she could get even better. Drawing made her happy, and she loved using her imagination to create new pictures. Let's continue with more animal stories. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. There was a little boy named Jack. Jack lived near a forest with his family. He loved to go on walks in the forest. One day, while walking in the forest, Jack saw a small squirrel. The squirrel was looking for food. It had a fluffy tail and bright eyes. Jack watched the squirrel run up and down the trees. It was very quick. Jack wanted to help the squirrel. He picked up some nuts from the ground and put them near the tree. The squirrel looked at Jack, and then it came closer. It sniffed the nuts, picked one up, and started eating. Jack was very happy. He liked helping animals. Every day after school, Jack went to the forest to leave more nuts for the squirrel. Soon, the squirrel began to trust Jack. It would come close to him, and sometimes it would even sit near him while eating. Jack named the squirrel Nutty. He loved watching Nutty play in the trees. One day, Jack noticed that Nutty wasn't alone. There were other squirrels too. They all came to eat the nuts Jack left for them. Jack smiled. He was happy to help the animals in the forest. One afternoon, Jack saw Nutty running with something in its mouth. It was a leaf. Jack followed Nutty and found that it was building a nest. Jack learned that squirrels build nests high up in the trees to keep safe. He watched Nutty work hard, bringing leaves and sticks to make a nice home. Jack realized that animals are smart, and they know how to take care of themselves. Jack's parents were proud of him. They told him, "You are kind to animals, Jack. It's important to take care of nature and the animals that live there." Jack smiled and kept helping the squirrels. He knew that even small acts of kindness could help animals live happily. Now, let's hear another animal story. There was a little girl named Ella. Ella lived on a farm with her family. The farm had many animals: cows, chickens, and goats. But Ella's favorite animal on the farm was a little duckling named Daisy. Daisy had soft yellow feathers and a cute little beak. Every morning, Ella went to the pond to feed Daisy. Daisy would swim around and quack happily when she saw Ella. One day, it was raining, and the pond was full of water. Daisy loved the rain. She flapped her wings and splashed in the water. Ella watched and laughed. She loved seeing Daisy so happy. Daisy was not afraid of the water. In fact, ducks love water because they can swim and find food in it. Ella learned how to take care of Daisy. She gave Daisy food and made sure her little house was clean and dry. Daisy followed Ella everywhere on the farm. When Ella walked, Daisy waddled behind her. They were best friends. Ella loved how Daisy quacked softly when she was happy. It made Ella feel happy too. When the baby ducklings finally hatched, Ella was overjoyed. They were small and fluffy, just like Daisy was when she was a duckling. Daisy was a good mother, and she made sure the ducklings were safe. Ella helped too. She gave the ducklings food and watched them swim in the pond with Daisy. Ella loved living on the farm and taking care of the animals. She knew that animals needed love and care, just like people do. And she was happy to give them that love. Let's hear another animal story. There was a boy named Tom. Tom lived near the beach, and he loved the ocean. One day, while walking on the beach, Tom saw a small sea turtle. The turtle was trying to reach the water, but it was moving very slowly. Tom knew that sea turtles live in the ocean, and he wanted to help it. He gently picked up the turtle and placed it near the water. The turtle slowly walked into the sea, and Tom watched as it swam away. Tom felt happy. He had helped the turtle get to the ocean safely. He learned that sea turtles are special animals. They are born on the beach, but they live most of their lives in the ocean. Tom wanted to know more about sea turtles, so he went to the library and read books about them. He learned that sea turtles travel long distances in the ocean, and they always come back to the same beach to lay their eggs. One day, Tom's family went to a different beach. There, he saw many small baby turtles hatching from their eggs. The baby turtles were tiny, and they were all trying to reach the ocean. Tom watched them and felt amazed. He knew that the ocean was their home, and they needed to get there quickly to be safe. Tom saw some people helping the baby turtles by clearing the way for them to reach the water. He wanted to help too. He carefully moved small rocks out of the way so the turtles could walk faster. When the turtles finally reached the ocean, Tom felt proud. He had helped them, and he knew he had made a difference. Tom's parents were proud of him too. They told him, "It's good to care for animals, especially ones like sea turtles that need our help." Tom nodded and smiled. He knew he would always remember that day when he helped the baby turtles reach their home in the ocean. Now, let's hear another story about animals. There was a girl named Sara. Sara loved birds. She liked to watch them fly in the sky and listen to their songs. One day, Sara saw a small bird with a broken wing in her garden. The bird couldn't fly, and it looked scared. Sara felt sad for the bird and wanted to help. Sara told her mother about the bird, and her mother said, "We can take care of the bird until its wing gets better." Sara and her mother gently picked up the bird and put it in a small box with soft cloth to keep it warm. They gave the bird some water and food. Sara named the bird Chirpy because it made soft chirping sounds. Every day, Sara took care of Chirpy. She gave it food and water and made sure it was comfortable. After a few days, the bird's wings started to heal. Sara was happy to see Chirpy getting better. One morning, Chirpy flapped its wings and tried to fly. It wasn't ready yet, but Sara knew it would be soon. A few days later, Chirpy's wing was fully healed. Sara took Chirpy outside and placed it in the garden. Chirpy flapped its wings and flew up into the sky. Sara watched as Chirpy flew higher and higher. She was happy that she had helped Chirpy get better. Sara's mother said, "You did a wonderful thing, Sara. You took care of Chirpy, and now it's strong again." Sara smiled and felt proud. She knew that helping animals was important. From that day on, Sara always made sure to look after the birds in her garden. She put birdseed out for them and loved watching them fly around happily. Let's hear another animal story. There was a boy named Daniel. Daniel lived on a farm with his family. The farm had many animals, but Daniel's favorite was a horse named Star. Star was a beautiful horse with a shiny black coat. Daniel loved riding Star around the farm. They were best friends. One day, Daniel's father told him that they were going to have a race on the farm. All the children could ride their horses and see who was the fastest. Daniel was excited. He knew Star was a fast horse, and he wanted to win the race. For the next few days, Daniel practiced riding Star. He made sure to brush Star's coat and give him good food. He wanted Star to be strong and ready for the race. On the day of the race, Daniel was a little nervous, but he knew he and Star were ready. The race started, and Daniel and Star ran as fast as they could. The wind blew through Daniel's hair, as Star galloped across the field. They were moving quickly, but some other children were fast too. Daniel kept cheering for Star, and Star ran faster. In the end, Daniel and Star didn't win first place, but they finished the race together. Daniel was proud of Star for running so well. His father said, "You did a great job, Daniel. You and Star make a good team." Daniel smiled and patted Star's neck. He was happy, not because he won, but because he had fun and worked together with his horse. From that day on, Daniel knew that winning wasn't the most important thing. What mattered most was having fun and doing his best with Star. He loved spending time with his horse, and he knew that they would always be the best of friends. These are just a few stories about animals, but there are many more to enjoy. Animals are special, and they teach us a lot about kindness, care, and friendship. Let's dive into some fish stories. Fish live in the water and have many interesting adventures. Here are some stories about fish that I think you'll enjoy. There was a small fish named Bubbles. Bubbles lived in a big, colorful coral reef. The reef was full of other fish, crabs, and sea plants. Bubbles was very curious and loved to explore. Every day, Bubbles swam around the reef, looking for new places to explore. He loved swimming through the coral and seeing the beautiful colors of the sea. One day, Bubbles saw something shiny at the bottom of the reef. He was curious, so he swam down to see what it was. When he got closer, he saw that it was a small silver shell. Bubbles thought it was the most beautiful shell he had ever seen. He picked it up with his fins and took it back to his home. Bubbles showed the shell to his friends. They all thought it was very pretty. One of Bubbles' friends, a little fish named Sparkle, said, "That shell is special. It shines like a star." Bubbles smiled. He was happy to have found something so beautiful. From that day on, Bubbles carried the shell with him wherever he went. It made him feel happy, and he loved showing it to the other fish in the reef. But one day, while Bubbles was playing with his friends, he accidentally dropped the shell. It fell into a deep part of the reef, where the water was dark. Bubbles felt sad. He didn't know if he would ever find his shell again. But then, his friends came to help. "We will help you find your shell, Bubbles," they said. Together, they swam down to the dark part of the reef. It was a little scary, but they stayed close to each other. After searching for a while, Sparkle saw something shiny in the dark water. "I see the shell," Sparkle said. Bubbles swam over, and there it was, his shiny silver shell. Bubbles was so happy to have it back. He thanked his friends for helping him. Bubbles learned that friends are always there to help, even when things seem hard. He was glad to have such good friends in the reef, and he promised to help them too whenever they needed him. Let's hear another fish story. There was a fish named Finny. Finny was a fast swimmer and loved to race with the other fish in the river. Every day, the fish in the river would swim in races to see who was the fastest. Finny was always excited to join the races because he loved the feeling of the water rushing past him as he swam. One day, a new fish came to the river. His name was Flash. Flash was very fast, and the other fish started to talk about how good he was at swimming. Finny heard the other fish talking and felt a little worried. What if Flash is faster than me? Finny thought. The next day, the fish had a big race. Finny and Flash were both in the race, and all the other fish came to watch. Finny was nervous, but he told himself to swim as fast as he could. The race started, and Finny and Flash both swam quickly. The water splashed around them as they raced through the river. At first, Finny was ahead, but then Flash started to swim faster. Soon, Flash was in the lead. Finny tried his best to catch up, but Flash crossed the finish line first. Finny felt a little sad. He had always been the fastest fish, but now Flash had won. After the race, Flash came over to Finny and said, "You are a really good swimmer." Finny: "That was a close race." Finny smiled and said, "Thanks, Flash. You are fast too." Finny realized that even though he didn't win, it was still fun to race. He and Flash became good friends, and they often raced together, not to see who was the fastest, but just for fun. Finny learned that it's not always about winning. Sometimes, it's just about having fun with friends and enjoying the race. Now, let's hear another story about fish. There was a fish named Goldie. Goldie was a small goldfish who lived in a big pond with many other fish. The pond was peaceful, and Goldie liked to swim around the lily pads and play in the cool water. But Goldie had a dream. She dreamed of swimming to the other side of the pond, where the water was deep and there were bigger fish. One day, Goldie told her friend, a little green fish named Leafy, about her dream. "I want to swim to the other side of the pond," Goldie said. Leafy looked a little worried. "But the other side is far, and the water is deep. What if it's dangerous?" Leafy asked. Goldie thought about it. She knew that the other side of the pond was different, but she was curious. She wanted to see what was there. So one sunny morning, Goldie decided to go. She swam past the lily pads and toward the deeper part of the pond. As she swam, the water got deeper, and the plants were bigger. Goldie felt a little nervous, but she kept swimming. Suddenly, she saw a big fish swimming toward her. It was the biggest fish Goldie had ever seen. Goldie froze for a moment, but then the big fish smiled and said, "Hello, little fish. What brings you to this part of the pond?" Goldie smiled and said, "I wanted to explore and see the other side of the pond." The big fish laughed kindly and said, "You are very brave. There are many interesting things on this side of the pond. Let me show you." The big fish showed Goldie the different plants and rocks that were deep in the water. Goldie was amazed by all the new things she saw. She realized that even though she was small, she could still explore new places if she was brave. When Goldie returned to her side of the pond, she told Leafy all about her adventure. Leafy was surprised and happy for Goldie. From that day, Goldie knew that being curious and brave could lead to exciting adventures. Let's hear another story. There was a fish named Coral. Coral lived in the ocean, and she was very colorful. Her scales were pink, blue, and purple, and they sparkled in the sunlight. Coral loved her home in the ocean, but sometimes she felt a little lonely. She didn't have many friends to play with. One day, Coral saw a group of small fish swimming together. They were playing a game, swimming in circles and chasing each other. Coral wanted to join them, but she was too shy. She watched from a distance and wished she could be part of the group. The next day, Coral saw the same group of fish again. They were playing near some rocks, and Coral decided to swim closer. She wanted to say hello, but she didn't know how. Just then, one of the fish noticed Coral. "Hi! Do you want to play with us?" the fish asked. Coral felt happy and a little nervous. She smiled and said, "Yes, I would love to play." The other fish welcomed Coral, and soon they were all swimming and laughing together. Coral felt so happy. She realized that sometimes you just need to be brave and say hello to make new friends. From that day on, Coral played with her new friends every day. They swam through the coral reefs, played games, and explored the ocean together. Coral wasn't lonely anymore. She learned that making friends is easy when you are kind and open to meeting new fish. Now, let's hear one last fish story. There was a fish named Bluey. Bluey was a little blue fish who lived in a big aquarium. The aquarium was full of colorful fish, and Bluey liked to swim around and look at all the different fish. But there was one thing Bluey didn't like. He was scared of the big, dark cave at the bottom of the aquarium. Every time Bluey swam near the cave, he felt a little afraid. It was dark inside, and Bluey didn't know what was in there. The other fish told Bluey that the cave was safe, but Bluey was still scared. One day, Bluey decided that he wanted to be brave. He wanted to see what was inside the cave. Slowly, he swam closer to the cave. His heart was beating fast, but he told himself to be brave. When he got to the entrance of the cave, he took a deep breath and swam inside. To Bluey's surprise, the cave wasn't scary at all. Inside, there were beautiful rocks that sparkled in the light. There were also small fish swimming happily. Bluey felt silly for being scared. The cave was not dark and scary. It was peaceful and beautiful. Bluey swam back to tell his friends about what he had seen. "The cave isn't scary," Bluey said. "It's beautiful inside." His friends smiled, and they were proud of Bluey for being brave. From that day on, Bluey wasn't scared of the cave anymore. He swam there often, enjoying the beauty inside. He learned that sometimes things that seem scary aren't scary at all. You just have to be brave and take a closer look. These are some fun fish stories. Fish have exciting adventures, and they teach us about being curious, brave, and kind. There are many more stories to explore in the underwater world. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Keep practicing English every day. Listen to stories, learn new words, and try to use them in your daily life. You will get better with time. Don't give up. Keep learning and keep smiling. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the bell notification so that you never miss new updates. See you next time.